Say rolling around, sitting on doves, can't lie, I was high on shrubs.
So I'll go back with another video. I'm Strange Wang. He is Nate. And today we're doing our top 10 ranking for the greatest films of the decade.
If you don't know how we do our top 10s, basically we will go through 10 through 6. We'll kind of speed through those pretty quickly, maybe say a few things about each one, then pop through. When we get to our 5 and up, one of us will do 5 and 4, the other do 5 and 4, 3, 2, 3, 2. We'll trade off number ones. Then we will take a brief break from you guys, and we will make a combined list using both of our lists and put them together to make the undisputed, ultimate, unbiased best films of the decade.
Okay!
But number 10 is Moonlight. This film has a reason to be made. It's important for a large community. Number 9, John Wick, the greatest action movie in the decade. If you have to sum up the decade in a couple of genres, number 8 is one of those genres, is zombies, anything, TV, film, whatever. Train to Busan, best zombie movie of the decade. Number 7, the greatest comic book movie of the decade, if you ask me, and that is Into the Spider-Verse. Superhero shit rules this decade with zombies. So that's why it's number 7. Number 6, another thing that's filled this decade up is nostalgia. And the film that shows the best nostalgia, in my non-biased opinion, is Creed. It's a perfect blend of both, and it made an exciting movie for people who just got into the franchise and people who love the franchise from the very beginning, like me or you, because you get both spectrums that way, full circle.
Nice. Making our combined list is going to be very interesting because we do not have any of the same films on our bottom 5.
Really?
Number 10 for me is going to be Inside Out. I think it's a shame when people exclude animated films from best films list. This film definitely has something to say, and it says it phenomenally well. Number 9 for me is going to be Get Out. What? Another film with a lot to say.
All right.
That's going to be interesting. Yeah, it's an extremely well-made film. I think it was very deserving of its Best Picture nomination, thus being on my top 10 best of the decade list. Number 8 for me is going to be 3 Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri. Extraordinarily well-made film, extraordinarily acted. I love the tone of this film. Number 7 for me is going to be Django Unchained. Another, to me, it's tough. I think that I'll always think that Pulp Fiction is Tarantino's best film. But Django, I love this movie a lot. I think it's extraordinary. Again, that extraordinarily well made. Acting is phenomenal. Another film with something to say, but he says it with that special Tarantino flair that no one can duplicate. Number 6 for me is going to be a film from one of the best directors that's ever existed, probably ever will
Strange Wang?
exist, Martin Scorsese.
Oh, I thought you were going to say Strange Wang's film consumption above your head.
And it's going to be The Wolf of Wall Street.
What number?
6.
Okay.
So, yeah, great film. Pretty long, a little long, which kind of bumped it down a little bit for me. But in terms of filmmaking, acting, screenplay, all that stuff, phenomenal. Very good movie.
My number 5 is The Wolf of Wall Street.
Nice. That'll be easy.
This film, people took this film and ran with it. It's one of those films where it crossed the film barrier.
Yeah.
You didn't have to be a cinephile or appreciate film to enjoy this movie. You didn't even have to know who Martin Scorsese was.
Yeah, that's true.
This film crossed over and people loved it, and it's great to have your friends come up to you like, have you seen this movie? And this is one of the movies where they was like,
Yeah.
oh, have you seen this movie, Wolf of Wall Street? It's so good, isn't it? And I was like, yeah, Martin Scorsese's best. Like, who the fuck's Martin Scorsese? Number 4 for me is a film that had a reason to be made, and I'll say it for a ton of movies. Most of them are on this list. Is a ginormous reason why I watch film, and it's Blind Spotting. It's about police killings, and it incorporates race and rap music into it, and just you follow these two guys around in life, and it's a extraordinary movie. Dave, what's his name?
Daveed Diggs?
Yeah. He's the lead in it, and a white dude. I don't remember the white dude's name, but I feel like people's gonna watch this movie 20 years from now and feel how we feel now, and everyone because it shows both sides of it. You know, it's not biased. You get both sides of the police killing, you know?
Yeah.
So you get that incorporated in the rap music, which is very cultural, and how people express feelings nowadays, and it's artful. And this film's amazing. It's very underrated, but I feel like it's one of those that will grow because of Veed Diggs. I think his talent is limitless. He did Hamlet. He switches around too much.
Hamilton.
Yeah. Fuck cares. He's doing a TV show now. When he like sticks to one thing,
Yeah.
he's going to sell, and hopefully it'll be movies. And people will be like, "Oh, dude, did you see this? One of his first movies?" I think it will grow, and people will look back on this movie and they'll be like, "Damn, that's how my grandfather felt."
Nice.
My number 5 is going to be The Florida Project.
Yes.
You can find that on Strange Wings, most underrated films of the decade. I agree with him. It is underrated. Unfortunately, it suffers from being one of those just really very small independent films, but it is so good. It is phenomenally made film. Cinematography A+, acting A+, script A+. All of it is great. And I understand maybe some of why it's I guess you could say an abstract film in some ways. It doesn't necessarily have this big plot to it. It doesn't necessarily have this big resolution to it, but not every film has to have that. And that's not what filmmaking is about. Filmmaking is about exploring all of these walks of life.
Side note.
We went to the hotel.
We did.
It was dope.
So.
Number 4 for me is one of my favorite movies of all time, and it's going to be La La Land. What?
I knew it was going to be on there. I also was waiting.
Yeah.
I was waiting.
Yeah. So, and I will admit it, it's hard for me to be unbiased with this film, but there are 3 films that I thought were better than it. Again, I can't think of anything wrong with this movie. I love everything about it. I am extraordinarily excited for Damien Chazelle's career. He has yet to disappoint me at all. I love the pacing in this film. I love the way the characters are fleshed out. I love the message that the movie delivers. But what really sells me on it is, the cinematography itself, the use of color, all of that. Costume design kills it. The music is amazing. And the way that they end the film is just
Perfection.
My number 3 is going to be 8th Grade. Like I said for the last film, it has a reason to be made. It doesn't matter if you're white, black, red, yellow, gay, straight. It doesn't matter. You've probably been in 8th grade. You probably felt the same way as this young girl did. And just having... Because I feel like everyone's that way with their parents at that age. Where it's just like very distant. And especially this time of technology. So future generations are going to be very relatable to it. And just like the struggle she goes through trying to fit in and be cool, because that's what's important in that time of your life. And obviously the kid trying to have sex with her, the older kid, and just like that's a real thing that women can see and watch this video and relate to, or just be like, it's very easy to get invested after that point, even if you're not invested in the movie already. That will get you invested.
Yeah.
But I was invested top to bottom. It was not one of my favorite movies that year, but it's a very good movie. But the importance, this is the Breakfast Club for like this generation. I feel like people can watch that and relate to, and they can see it, and they're like, man, like she's the shit, because she's trying to have fun in life. You know, she's doing her YouTube thing. You know, I feel like it's important for that. Everyone can relate to it. So,
yeah, cool.
My number 2 is going to be a film that I'm not a big fan of. I think it's a good movie, not an excellent movie. And that top is probably still spinning, and it is Inception. This is one of those films where everyone, even if you people who don't like movies, they're like, this movie's so good. You haven't seen this movie, especially because Christopher Nolan with the Batman films, his name was on it, so more people saw it because of that. And Leonardo DiCaprio in the cast. People love this movie. The impact of it. People still talk to this movie about this movie
To this day.
And just the different layers. People rewatch it, they study it, and the impact it had on everyone at the time to now. I think it's one of the best films of the decade. It's hard to argue it's not. It's not one of my favorite films.
I'm excited to
At
argue
all.
it with you then.
Ding, ding.
My number 3 is going to be a film that I think you talked about this sorry, I can't remember which movie you said it, but your point was basically that as time goes on, Blind Spotting. As time goes on, I think appreciation for this film is going to grow rapidly, and I think it already has to a certain extent. So my number 3 is going to be Ex Machina.
It was hard to leave it off.
Yeah,
I love that movie.
This movie did not get nominated for Best Picture, and that's weird to me because this movie.
I feel like because the movie is weird.
And so I thought about that, and I mean, there's all my movies from here on have some weirdness to them, and maybe that's why.
I feel like a 70s film director
Yeah.
got frozen in time and woke up and was like, I can do this on film.
Yeah, he was probably
But
like, "Oh my gosh, this is
had
how
the
far
same-
technology's
but
come.
had the
We're all
same-
gonna die."
Had the same mindset
Sure.
and was like, you can put somebody dancing weird
Yeah.
for no reason, but it has a reason. It has a deeper reason. But if you watch it face value, it doesn't.
Yeah.
And that's what 70 films did. And 70s is my favorite decade. And this feels like a 70s movie with better technology.
Yeah.
But it's hard to leave off. It's
Yeah.
very hard.
I think this film is damn near perfect.
Yeah.
Like the suspense that it gives you, the anxiety that it gives you, the digging into these characters and slowly unearthing their true motives and all of those things, and them figuring out how smart the AI really is or isn't, the twists that come along the way. The pacing of it is amazing. The originality of it is amazing. The filming of it is amazing. Everything that went on behind that scenes was done expertly in this film. I don't understand how it didn't get more attention critically, and maybe it's just because of what you said, that it's just too weird for people,
Face value wise.
and that's silly.
Let's be clear. I'm thankful you have that on your list, though.
Yeah. Number 2 for me, I had to think about this one. It was another one that was hard for me to not be biased about because I do personally love the film, but I was trying to think about all aspects of filmmaking and everything that goes into them. And this one got in more on a technical reasons. Granted, I do think everything about the film is phenomenal. Number 2 for me is going to be Birdman.
I thought he was going to say Blade Runner.
No. I would have loved to have put on my list just to piss you off, but I did my best to be as unbiased as possible about this. Again, use of color. The relationships in this film are amazing, where we end up seeing Birdman go, and the lengths that he goes to try to maintain his relevancy is it's terrifying, but like that's real. Like people do that. The fact that they managed to film it all and to make it look as though it's all done in one take. Just thinking about Michael Keaton actually running around in his underwear in Times Square, which they really had him do, is amazing. So Emma Stone kills it. Edward Norton kills it.
Who else kills it?
Yeah,
Does Michael Keaton kill it?
yeah, he does. Just about kills himself.
Spoiler alert.
So, yeah, I love this film a lot, and I really just, like I said, it gets in for me on a lot more technical aspects than other films that I've added to the list, but I still think that it has plenty to say.
All right. I'm going to give one honorable mention because it was incredibly difficult to leave this film off the list.
Sure.
Sicario. What an amazing film.
Yeah.
I think if Sicario 2 didn't come out, it would have probably made the list. Sicario is amazing. So layered. But another film that's layered, which is my number 1, not my number 9 or whatever the fuck you said, is Get Out. Get Out had a reason to be made. It crossed barriers. It represented a race of people who didn't really go to the movies. Dude, this thing was in the theater forever.
It did. It had legs. Long-ass legs.
It did. Like Lakeith Stanfield, who was in the film. It was a horror movie. It was made by a black director, too. So even if you saw this and you didn't know who directed it, but if you're a black person and you love film and you saw a black director, it has legs for rewatching. It's very rewatchable. It's funny. It's a horror movie, obviously, so it's thrilling. It puts you on the edge of your seat. This just so layered, and when you rewatch it, you pick up on little stuff, nuances here and there, and just like how creative it is. And it didn't give you a black guy like we've seen in Boys in the Hood or Juice, because it's 2020 now, and like colors like it's existent obviously, but for like just black emo kids,
Yeah, it's slowly fading.
yeah, like his haircut. Can I say that?
Blending. Fading isn't the right word.
Well, they call it a fade. Whatever. I think from people who love cinema, critics, people who went to the movies just to see a horror movie with black people, it hit all those. Like, there's not a person that this movie doesn't target. You know what I'm saying? And this is a film people go look back on 20 years from now and be like, this was the film that set it up. This is the, like, culturally, what, like, has given black actors and directors and people who aren't white men purpose in Hollywood because of this movie. You know what I'm saying? This is a start, a beautiful thing in Hollywood, because a lot of, like, I'm Italian, but call me white. I'm a white male. And there's a lot of people I see in movies or directors. I was just like, how do you have a job?
You're not wrong.
So my number one, this is going to be so fun combining our lists.
Yeah.
Uh,
I'll have two in common so far.
So for my number one, I really tried to look at all aspects of filmmaking, impact, color, technical aspects, acting, story, originality, all of that kind of stuff. So my pick for the number one film of the decade is Mad Max Fury Road. Oh, your face. I love that.
Really?
Yeah. Name something wrong with that movie.
No, I'm talking about, there's nothing wrong with the movie. I like the movie. But best film of the decade?
I think it's perfect.
And that's all I got to say about that.
This could be a fun list, so we'll see you with this crazy list when we come back. After a lot of discussion and a lot of looking up the Rotten Tomatoes scores on films, unfortunately, Creed's 95% is left off to our number 10, which is The Florida Project, which has a 96% Rotten Tomatoes.
Number 9 is going to be Blind Spotting.
Number 8 is La La Land.
Number 7 is going to be Ex Machina.
Number 6, 8th Grade.
Number 5, Inception.
Number 4, Birdman.
Number 3 is going to be Mad Max Fury Road.
Number 2, Get Out.
And number 1, because it was the only film we had in common on our top 5, is going to be Scorsese's The Wolf of Wall Street.
Tell us what you think about this list down in the comment section below. Like, share, and subscribe.